Hello guys, today we're going to talk about the fate of the Huguenots. Cardinal Richelieu lived from 1585 to 1642. He was one of the greatest politicians in French history. Also, he was appointed as Louis's 13th chief minister in 1624. He thought that the prosperity and survival of France depended on strengthening royal power. Cardinal Richelieu was a Catholic and he detested the Huguenots, but as long as they were loyal, he was willing to tolerate them. They, however, did not show loyalty and were rebellious. That's why the cardinal couldn't tolerate them. The religion of the Huguenots was Protestantism. They were allowed to maintain their religion, but not a special status. They had 8 circles in the south, as if they were a republic within a monarchy. Cardinal Richelieu couldn't tolerate that, and the Huguenots started seeing him as a threat. Richelieu wanted France to earn respect from the other countries and to be internally stable and secured, but if the Huguenots expanded, they would have threatened his dreams. During the 30 Years' War, the Huguenots' territory expanded. In 1625, they took the opportunity and seized the islands Ré and Oleron because the central government was occupied. Those islands were strategically important because they were at the sea entrance of La Rochelle, and the Huguenots had made it their capital. Because Richelieu didn't tolerate their expansion, he sent an army to tame the Huguenots, but inspired by the English, which were also a Protestant nation, in 1626 he signed the Treaty of La Rochelle. This treaty gave the Huguenots time to strengthen. In 1627, the English sent their troops to help the Huguenots in an open revolt. This resulted in firm actions by Richelieu imperative. In 1627, Richelieu directed a campaign against the Huguenots. English were driven out of the territory. Richelieu decided to starve the people by cutting off La Rochelle. He surrounded the whole city with troops. The population was reduced from 25,000 to 5,000 people. On November the 1st, 1628, he led the King Louis XIII to lead the army and to enter La Rochelle. In 1629, the Grace of Allies was signed. It ordered to that the Huguenot military organization should have been broken up. Also, the Roman Catholicism should be restored. Huguenots had no political rights, and money was not available for their education and the support of the Protestant clergy. The survivors were kept alive, so this made the Grace of Allies seen as generous surviving plan. As a result, the success against the Huguenots did a great deal to establish Richelieu in the eyes of all those involved in central government. In that way, the other region of France got an example of what could happen if they decided to challenge Richelieu. Louis XIV's views regarding religion were that the king should control the Catholic Church and that the Church should do his bidding. These thoughts got Louis into clashes with the popes. But this did not affect him, since he was a very powerful monarch. He was thinking that what was good for him was good for France. So the church which subordinated to him was good for him. Louis believed that the Roman Catholic Church was an essential tool of maintaining control over the people. He wanted religious uniformity to be enforced. Historically, France had experienced a great deal of turmoil regarding religion. The French Wars of Religion had torn France apart and had threatened the monarchy as an institution. Louis became more influenced by the Jesuits. He started viewing unorthodox as divisive and possible source of rebellion. Also, the church backed Louis financially and took his side when he clashed within the Pope in Rome. Louis ordered the persecution of the Jansenists. They believed in predestination, which was against what the Catholic Church preached, but was a part of the beliefs of the Calvinist faith. In 1661, he expelled the nocius of the Port Royal and Port Royal des Champs, which were 2 convents known to be hotbeds of Jansenism. Also, in the same year, 5 fundamental beliefs of the Jansenists were declared heretical. In 1664, the chief nuns of the convents were arrested and were put under military guard. In 1710, the convent at Port Royal des Champs was ordered by Louis to be destroyed. In 1713, the papal bulls Unigenitus were introduced, which condemned all Jansenist beliefs. Louis introduced Quietism, a mystical movement which was led by Madame Guénon in France. The ceremonies and religious works were necessary because the movement emphasized on total love of God. This movement could exist independently of the Catholic Church, which was not accepted by Louis. Madame de Guenon was arrested and imprisoned. In 1699, Louis made the Pope into condemning the movement as herenos, as opposed to heretical. In 1643, when Louis became king, the Huguenots were a greater threat to the stability of France than the Jansenists because they were 2 million and they had shown that they can be disloyal to the crown. During this time, Louis ruled. The things were different. Huguenots had been a loyal and also industrious group. They had done a great deal for France because they had modernized the economy. But despite that, Louis decided to persecute them. The question is why? The Assembly of Clergy wanted him to take action against the Huguenots or the heretics. Also, in his later years, Louis was influenced by Madame de Maintenon, who was a fervent Catholic, and had Jesuit confessors. All of the groups wanted the Huguenots to be persecuted. Louis wanted to make the Huguenots become Catholic. Also, the terms of Edict of Nantes were strictly enforced. The result was it was very hard for Huguenots to get a job. They were excluded from government posts. Also, cash payments were given to those who would revert back to Catholicism because it was thought that that way the other Huguenots would be attracted to the same. There were troops which violated on the Huguenots, and they said that they would remove them if they reverted to the church. In October 1685, the Edict of Fontainebleau was introduced, and the Edict of Nantes revoked, which made Protestantism illegal. France lost 200,000 Huguenots who had fled the country, which were a great deal to offer the economy of France. The respective governments of Prussia, the United Provinces, and Britain were angry with Louis about the refugees. The way he treated the Huguenots showed what a tyrant he was and that he could be a danger to Europe. The policy which was introduced to make France more stable brought increased instability to Europe and made a powerful nation side with one another against Louis.